Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Scrappin Up Saturday with Leslie Watkins. So welcome to part 2. I think I've solved all my technical issues. I was able to get my photographs to print with my brand new Selfie CP 1500 that so far I love. And I'm using some of the papers from the new Stampin' Up! In Colors, which are kind of wonderful. You can see how bright and cheerful they are. So my goal here is to create a scrapbook page, and it's smaller than your typical scrapbook. So let me just show you. I'm using this journal, and this one measures about 9 inches by 6. So it's a 6-ring binder, and because I've got a lot of things to document here today, both my trip to Houston for On Stage, also the Houston Livestock and Rodeo Show, which I was able to attend, and a wonderful series of classes that I co-instructed with my good friend Lisa McGrew in Willis, Texas. So I've got a lot of things that I want to include in this spread. So instead of having a typical 2-page spread, I want to create a spread that has flip outs so that they'll open like a gatefold in the center, and I'll have a partial page, and that way I will have almost twice the amount of space to decorate. I've gone ahead and I've mounted a number of things onto these little mats using the new In Color collection, and I've got various types of die cuts and ephemera that I'm planning on using. And I also have some maps. So this is, as you can see, we've got San Antonio on the left, and I've got Houston on the right. I've got my photos that I've gone ahead and mounted onto the colored mats. And let's see, I think that's everything I need to show you there right now. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my base layers, or what would you call it, my base pages assembled, and then I'm going to begin to design by adding my photographs, special features like pockets, and then finally with the embellishments. And there's a pretty good chance that I may continue to decorate these pages even after the video today, but I'm going to take you along for the process. So let me just check my sound, check my broadcasting, make sure that everything's working okay. And I don't see us. What's happening? There we go. Okay, I've got it now. And, all right. So first thing, I'm just going to put these photos to the side. get my page bases assembled. And I'm also using some strips of the linen paper. I love to use this linen paper because it acts as a almost like a librarian's book tape to help and reinforce these joins. So I'm just going to flip them over. Actually, I guess at this point it doesn't matter. So they're going to go together something like this. And I want to trim these down just a little bit so that the linen tape does not go outside the bounds of the cardstock. Now the linen paper is actually linen. It's actually a linen fabric that has some self-adhesive on the back that you peel away. So it does have the tendency to stretch a little bit. So I may have to come back and just trim those up again. So I'm just going to get that lined up. Peel away the backing. I'm going to do this a little bit at a time. Get that centered on there as close to the edge as I can. And then just pull that. There we go. I'm going to give that a good burnish. Do the same thing here. Get those lined up. Get that as close to the center as possible. There we go. All right, so now what that does is it gives me a spread that looks something like that, and I'm just going to kind of tease that a little bit, just like so. It does have a little bit of a give, so if you just kind of gently okay. So this is my base. This is my gatefold. And I'm going to start over here. Well, let's see. Let's do one page at a time. Actually, I don't want to do one page at a time because I want to see them both together. So what I have in mind, and I'm keeping it fairly simple because this is my first spread, and I'm just sort of finding my footing as I go along here. So be patient with me, all right? So I'm thinking something like this. Something like that. I think I have these mixed up. Hold on a second. Let's change this around. No, I think I had it right the first time. But I do kind of like it like this. It's going to be a lot of trial and error here. Now I'm looking for, I have some other pictures. Here they are. Okay, so I think what I want to do here is switch it around. I'm going to change my colors so that they're like this. Okay. All right, I think I've got it. Okay, so that is how these two sides are going to come together. And one of the things that I'm going to want to do is I want to have a policy envelope closure. So let me just show you what I mean here by that. When the book is closed and looks something like this, I'm thinking that I want to have a cord that goes around, and I have two little circle punches here to wrap that cord around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch a hole, and I'm going to get that right in the middle. So let's see where I'm at here. This is 8 1/4. So I'm going to put a mark at about 4 1/8. And I'm also going to measure that so that it's 1/2 inch from the edge. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. Measure. Okay. I have my very tiny 1/16 of an inch hole punch. I have several. Let's get the right one. So here we go. Oh, I put that on the wrong side, didn't I? Did you all see me do that? Let's fix that. That would not help us. Okay, so that needs to be about a 1/2 inch that way, and then four and 1/8 this way, so just a little bit higher. There we go. All right. There we go. That's not going to work because when you close the book, those are going to move. So in order for that to work, I have to have another thing there. All right. Bear with me while I do some paper engineering here. I'm going to add another hole punch and get that lined up just like so. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to keep those as a placeholder. Okay, and that's going to enable me to fasten down these flips so that they don't automatically open up when you turn the page. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and get some of these pictures down. I'm going to begin with these two maps. And I'm just going to give that a nice bead of glue. Make sure I get to all the edges. like so. A little bit in the middle. Corners. Okay. Line that up. Now this could be a longer video. I know I'm coming on as a surprise on a Sunday. I usually don't do that, but because I was having so many technical difficulties yesterday and earlier in the week before, I just wanted to make sure that I was showing up. So okay. So there are my maps. This is going to look like this. Okay, so that's the outer flaps. Let's begin with these inner ones. Now I've got this beautiful photograph of these blue bonnets. There's some other wildflowers growing with them, and when we passed this field I got so excited to take this picture because Abby, if Abby's out there listening, used to live in Texas, and she just loves those blue bonnets, and she said make sure that you go looking for the blue bonnets because they come out after it rains. And there was some rainy weather, and sure enough they put on quite the show. Let's just get this on there nicely. Just moving it over a little bit away from that hole I just punched. And this, of course, is me and my wonderful friend Lisa McGrew, who was a fantastic friend and hostess. I mean, she really went above and beyond, making sure that I had all the things, like my coffee in the morning, my glass of wine at night, and the rodeo. She made sure I was on time to get to the airport. She picked me up and kept me happy and fed throughout my entire trip to Texas. So thank you so much, Lisa. I had so much fun with you. And she is definitely the star of the show. I also had the chance to meet some of the nicest people who are her her students and her customers that come to her crafty cottage once a month for all these great classes that she presents. And so I had a lot of fun meeting all those people. And I don't know if you can see, but that's Sage. That's her little fur baby. And Sage and I started a love affair. We really had a good time together. So I was very, very content. Now, one of the things that we did while I was at her crafty cottage in Willis, Texas, was to present a class on painting hummingbirds with ink. And I used the Stampin' Up! Thoughtful Expressions set that features this wonderful hummingbird and these flowers. And I have to put a little bit of ink on those. I have to sponge around the edges. But that was a lot of fun. And there's a picture of the finished card there. And I'm just starting at the corners, and then once those are established, I can start to add these other little odds and ends. So let's get a little angle, a little tilt going on here. I think would be fun. Oh, got lots of people on here. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Beverly. Oh, Teresa, you'll see. We have pockets coming, don't worry. Okay. So, I don't want to, let's do it like this. I don't want to cover anybody up here. That should be good. I think that'll work. Let's see. Scooch it down a tiny bit. All right. Now I'm wondering what would happen if I used dimensionals to pop these up. I'd kind of like to do that. But I also don't want too much bulk in my journal. But all right, I think I'm just gonna lay them down flat. I don't have enough experience with these scrapbook pages to know yet how much dimension is acceptable for any given page. So I'm going to proceed with caution until I get my sea legs here with the with the journals. Okay, so this one, go like that. Let's get our friend Sage. Tilt that a little bit more. And then our friend Sage can go and keep it this way. All right. Now, these need to be sponged, so we'll come back to those in a minute. But over here, going back to the on-stage photo, so for those of you who may not know, Stampin' Up! Has an annual convention. It's called On Stage, and the reason it's called On Stage, I think, is because the Stampin' Up! Demonstrators who have made achievements in leadership, team building, sales, promotions, etc., go across the stage to be honored by the company and also by the people in attendance. And so I was there, as you can see, and this year I was super excited because I was joined by two of my teammates. And one of my teammates, Ginger, made us these wonderful t-shirts that said Team Dandelion Cottage Design, which was a complete surprise, and I was so excited. Thank you again, Ginger, for those wonderful t-shirts. I absolutely love them. And so we got to, there's Candy. So Ginger, me, and Candy. And we got to get our pictures taken and join in all the fun of On Stage, which for me is really seeing all the other people that I don't get to see that often, friends from Facebook, YouTube, people from across the country, and just a lot of fun. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a good burnish. Let's move these for a minute. Give that a good burnish. Okay. Now over here, there's that t-shirt. And there's Ginger and me. Here we are wearing the t-shirts. Beautiful Lisa McGrew. And let me see, do I want to keep these straight or I also have this. I guess we've already got that there. We don't need another one of those right there. Let's just do this. Actually, I'm going to come back to this because I may have some other pieces. So let's jump ahead to the front. Now on this page, I have a ticket that I got with my my swag bag. Let's see, I'm just gonna tie this loosely for now because I'm not sure how I'm gonna do that. But this was a congratulations for qualifying as a leader. So I was able to go to the VIP lounge, which was really nice. It was a private lounge for Stampin' Up! Leaders to go and have coffee and connect with other demos and have a few moments of peace in the morning. And what I think I'd like to do is I want to create a pocket and something like that. Then I have this scrap from my Bluebell, so I want to turn this into a ticket. So I'm just going to grab my punch here. I'm going to go ahead and cut off those corners. Okay, and then I also have this little gizmo here that will give me a place to thread the ribbon through. So I should probably put that in first so that it was straight. Alright, so there's the top of my ticket. I have to find some ribbon for that, but in the meantime, I want to put that like so. And then I think what I want to do on this page, I've cut out some die shapes using the stylish shapes that look like this. And I'm thinking I want to have Texas on this banner. Now in the stylish shaped dies, let me just show them to you quickly. They look like this, and I needed something that was a little bit longer than the banner that came in the set. So I had to do that trick where you put the die on a part of the paper to be cut out so that it was open-ended on the opposite side, and then I put it back through a second time so I could get a much longer piece. And what I've done is I've gone ahead with the sticky backing adhesive. So that is called adhesive sheets, and they're these long sheets that you can apply to the back of the cardstock before you put it through the die cutting machine. And that way it puts the adhesive onto the die cuts before you go ahead and cut them out. So I'm gonna start at the bottom because I want this star to be there. I'm going to zoom you in a little bit because this is going to get kind of tiny. Let's see. That should do it. Oops. Oh, that's not the right thing. Okay. So there we go. So I just want to see how this looks. So it looks like that star is going to line up with the bottom of the banner just so. I'm going to go ahead and get that on there so I know where my spacing is. Maybe I'll bring that down just a little bit, like so. So it's not a, so it's a little bit staggered. I think I like that better. And then, this is the tricky part, okay, is peeling away this backing. And getting these lined up. Make sure you got your spelling correct. Got all the letters ready to go. Oh, Teresa says she wishes this was a Zoom and we were talking to each other. Well, that would have been fun. When I get a little more at ease with this, I may, you know, take it a step further. But right now, I'm learning as I go. Okay, I've been watching a lot of videos on how to do this. One in particular, one designer in particular that I've been watching quite a bit of is Annette Green on YouTube. Annette Green, and she's absolutely wonderful and has been a tremendous help and inspiration to me. I really admire her work, and her videos are great, and she's got a lot of them. So you can go check her channel out. Let's see if I can get this T to come apart. There we go. All right. Okay, so there's my Texas banner, and I quite like that. I'm going to give that a good burnish. And that is going to go on here something like this. I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. I especially don't want to cover up San Antonio because that's where my grandmother lived. So that has a special place in my heart because she used to tell me stories about when she was a little girl in San Antonio, she used to say. And she told me about how she and her brothers and sisters would capture horned toads and make little matchbook wagons that the horned toads would pull. And so when I was in Texas, I was really hoping that I would see a horned toad, but when I looked them up, I was told that they're on the endangered lists, unfortunately. Their habitat is shrinking, I guess. I don't know too much about them. If anybody out there is from Texas and if you have horned toads, let me know. So there's my Texas banner, and that looks awesome. And then, so remember, this is going to go like that. So I think I want to have a little corner here. So I'm going to go ahead and get that ticket corner again. I'm just going to take off this corner. And I'm going to turn my little tag here into a pocket. So I'm just going to put glue on 3 sides. I'm going to have to switch glue here in a minute. Running low. Here we go. Just want to get that lined up perfectly with that edge. Okay, so there's my pocket. And not sure about this. We'll find a place for that. And I also have another banner here that I thought I would add the date to, or the year. I'm going to go ahead and do that, but I'm not going to put this down just yet. I'm going to wait until I get some of the bigger things established before I make any decisions regarding the ultimate placement of these things. So let's get started with our 2. Actually, let me just take a look at the spacing here first before I stick anything down. Okay. So I'm thinking about 1/4 of an inch. Now I probably should have done this peeling of these little backings before I came on live, because I'm sure I'm driving you crazy trying to get my fingernail under there. It's a little crooked. Let's see if we can straighten that out a little bit. There we go. These tweezers are so indispensable for doing, whoa, that just flew away, for doing these tiny little things. There's Houdini. He wants to get outside. It's still a little cold out there. We still have snow and ice here in Northwest Connecticut, and none of the chickens are happy about that. Everybody is all set for spring and anxious to get outside and have some fun. So, understandably so. Just get this straight. Okay. My 4 looks a little bit low. Let me see if I think that's on there. Okay. All right. So there's my date. I'm not sure if I'm going to put that on just yet. And I'm just checking the comments. Oh, Beverly's getting caught up on her journals, and she has lots of the linen paper. Beverly, that linen paper is a fantastic investment. You're going to find that you're going to use that quite a bit. So good for you for snapping that up. I hope you got it when it was on the clearance rack and it was so inexpensive. Teresa says, are you going to leave any journaling spaces in your book? I've been thinking about that, Teresa, and the thing is that I have so many photos from this trip that I'm probably going to have to use tucks and pockets. I do, so that's part of the reason why I'm adding these pockets, but also I may have to add some other things later. So I'm just going to have to take that as it goes. As you've heard me say, this is my first one, so I'm learning as I go, so we will see. A lot of the pictures that I'm including here are sort of self-explanatory, so I don't know that, I'm just looking at my inks here, so I don't know that I'll have to do a lot of writing, but I may want to add a little something here and there. I'm just getting some inks, and let's see how these look. I just want to knock back. I did sponge a little bit around the edges, but I just want to do a little bit more. Oops, you can't see what I'm doing. Hang on. There we go. I just don't want that white edge around the die cuts contrasting so much with the background color. I want them to look a little more finished. Alright, so there are my leaves. Let me get the flower. I'm going to start with a lighter color, see how this works. That's perfect. Okay, just enough. Okay. Now I can put those down. I have been using quite a lot of these hummingbirds to decorate all kinds of projects. I'll show you one. So here's a little flipping envelope, and you can see the hummingbird on there. Now this one has been shaped using the ball burnisher, and it's also popped up on dimensional, so I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but it's got a lot of form, and of course the sculpted flowers too. It would be fun to do that here, but I'm not going to because I want the page to lay flat. Maybe sometime in the future I'll use dimensionals on the scrapbooking pages, but for now, well, I'm just getting my bearings. I think I'm going to play it safe. Okay, so that's going to go on there, something like that. All right, and the flower, I think we can raise that, or lower that, I mean. a little bit. Something like that. All right. These die cuts were stamped on the Fluid 100 watercolor paper, painted with ink, and then die cut out. And so they have a certain amount of thickness to them already. So there's my flower. Let me get my beautiful hummingbird. I've been following the map of the progress of the hummingbirds. You can watch that online and see their migration trail. And, oh, this glue. Okay, let's get another glue. Yeah, so you can see their progress. And they are making their way. I think they're into the mid-Atlantic states. And they will be here in my yard in time for Memorial Day. I'm just blotting off some of the excess glue and get this placed like so. All right, this is really so fun. I must say I am enjoying this. So there you go. So I may add a little bit more here and there, but that is essentially that side of the spread. All right, and then over here, I'm not going to have room for on stage on the front here. So, and I do want to use it, but I don't want to line it up with that one. So what I'm going to do is get my photos. Actually, I'm going to untie this string for the moment so that I have a flatter surface to work on here. Where'd my onstage go? There it is. Okay. So, thinking something like that. I may or may not cut that off. I'm not sure. Still deciding about that. I think that'll work. Something like that. All right, so let me get this. Get this big photo down first. This beautiful picture of Ginger. I love this picture. Ginger, are you out there? Get this. I think this one will go kind of straight. Glue up. All right, now I've got glue on my fingers. Okay. Uh-oh, it's too high. I'll bring that down. All right. Still too high. Oops, how did I goof that up? Right, well, we're going to have to get the glue eraser out. That's for sure. Fortunately, I'm using the Tombow liquid glue, which I love because it does allow you to move things around should you need to. Let's get this one on. Okay. Now I just have a little bit of glue over in this area, so I'll have to come back to that when that dries up. And then in the meantime, we'll continue and here I want to make sure I don't cover up that t-shirt. Okay, and then I'll get this one on first. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's remove some of these doodads. I'm going to give this a little burnish. There we go. All right, so here's what we've got so far. We're closing in on the home stretch here. So let's get this on the screen so you can see it. So there's my inner spread, and then on the cover here I'm going to be able to put my ticket like so, and I'm going to need something over here. I'm not sure what that's going to be, but I might find another photo to add. So let's work on this side now. Make sure this is stuck down well. Looks like I could use a little more glue under here. Okay, now let me put this here just to hold that side closed while I'm working on this side. I have another pocket, and this one was made from a die, and I've just added some of the tear and tape to the sides here, so let's get that on. Here's my piercing tool. Get that, see if I can get that up. Oh, it's down really well. There we go. So, I want this to be a little bit centered, but I do want it to be straight. Let's get that on there like so. There we go. And the important thing about this page is that this is the map that has Houston on it, and it also has Willis, which is where the classes were, and Willis is right there. So I don't want to cover those things up. I want to keep that open so I can see that. I've got this wonderful picture of the rodeo down here. I've got the picture of the Stampede Princess, Brooke Fielding, who I met in the coffee shop. She was sitting at the table next to me, and so I asked her if I could take her picture, and she's here with another rodeo queen, and I can't make it out on this picture, but the two of them were sitting at the table right next to Lisa and I, and they let me take the photo. And then she gave me this button and this card that tells you about her. So that was a lot of fun. So I want to get her on there since she was the first person I met. And then I have this picture. I know this is really tiny, and this is one of the things that I have to figure out. I don't know what the limits to the tininess of these photos should be for these little spreads. So I'm going to have to figure that out as I go along, but I have a feeling I'm really pushing the boundaries here. This might be just too small, and what I was trying to show here is the four of us are posing in front of the center where the rodeo takes place, and behind us is the great big banner that says the rodeo. And so I wanted to get that on there as well. And if I'm careful about my placement here, I will just clear Willis, which is right there, but it's a little tight, so I have to get these things up. And actually maybe, yeah, I think I'll put them at an angle. That way Willis is really cleared. So let's get this one down. the glue is coming out much faster from this container, so it's getting a little bit dangerous, but I'll be careful. Let's bring this down so you can see what I'm doing. So Willis is right here, so I want to just get that like so. That's good. And then get me and the girls. Teresa's getting ahead of me here. She says, so you could put a couple of pointing arrows at the two cities. Well, I've already got my arrows cut out, Teresa. I'm prepared. Okay, there we go. And then, so this picture shows the parade at the beginning of the rodeo with all of the horses coming into this grand stadium. And there, I don't know how, I have no clue how many horses were there. I'm going to take a wild guess and say at least 100, if not more. And then when the riders came in on their horses with the flags and all the people following along, then the wagons came in, and I think you can get a view of that wagon right down here. And there was a whole bunch of them. There were wagons and fire trucks, and just, it was amazing. It was quite the spectacle. So much fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assemble these something like this. And I'm going to keep a little bit of that pot. Oh, sorry, off screen. Sorry. Hang on. Here we go. I'm going to keep a little bit of the pocket showing along this side, but I'm going to go ahead and place these pictures right on top of the pocket. And I want to make sure I don't get any glue in that area. Just want a nice border. Okay, and then this one is going to go at an angle, and I'm just going to be able to catch. I want to be careful I don't cover up Houston. Actually, I wonder. No, I'm going to do it like this. So, this is really going to overlap. So I just need a little tiny bit of glue in this corner. And then place this very carefully. All right, I'm going to hold that for a minute because it's important that that does not shift. Oops. Got some glue on the photo. That's not good. Okay. I think we're safe. All right, my pocket still opens. Make sure that's not catching anywhere. Bring that down just a tiny bit. Just like so. Okay. I think we're safe. I'll double check. I think I need to add a little more glue just under here. There we go. All right, how long have we been on? This is like the world's longest video. I'm going to wrap it up soon. So there we go. I could almost put that on the back if I add another, I may add her in there. Okay, well that's a maybe. But what I definitely want to put in here is my rodeo ticket. So let's see. I'm gonna get it in the pocket there. All right, I may have to trim that off a little bit, but maybe not. We'll see. That'll be a decision for another time. But now, to get back to Teresa's suggestion with the arrows, I have my arrow all set, ready to go. And there is Willis. So let's see. Which way do I want it going? I don't want to cover up too much. It would be better if I go in this direction like so. And okay, I'm just looking to see where the dot is. I see it. So Teresa, it sounds like you've been doing a lot of scrapbooking. Is that true? I'd love to see what you're working on. Okay, let's get that right, pointing exactly where we need it to be. Okay. Beverly likes the way it's coming along. Okay, well, let's not get too excited too soon, Beverly. There's still ample opportunity for disaster, so let's just let's be humble here as we make our way through all the procedures. Okay, I think so far so good. I'm going to go ahead and give that a good burnish. Okay, let's do a quick check. So I'm thinking I want the rodeo to show, and I love that it has the date, has all the information on there, so that's very cool. And I may or may not trim that off, or maybe I'll fold it over. I don't know. I don't know yet, so I'm not gonna have all the answers right away, but that will be something like that. So that's how these are looking at the moment. Of course, I'm going to need a little something in this upper left-hand corner. Now I do have something else. Actually, I've got a couple more things to do, and then I'm going to call it done for today. But let's grab this for a moment, and I'm going to have to zoom you in again. These are tiny. Let's get a sip of coffee. Mm. So good. All right, now do a quick cleanup. I have the initials for Dandelion, Cottage, design. So I thought it'd be fun to get those on here. So let's start in the center. And again, I use the adhesive sheets to make the backs of these letters sticky before I die cut the shapes. And they seem to be working really well. Now, for those of you who are not aware, as a Stampin' Up! Demo, I do have a design team of the most wonderful people you'd ever want to meet. And when I first joined Stampin' Up!, it was for the to have access to the products, of course, because I love the quality so much, but also for the discount. And one of the greatest surprises to me was not only how many friends, I mean really good friends, I've made through being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, but also because of the people who have joined my team. And I only had a couple of people join me at the Onstage convention in Houston, but I've got many more who attend my Zooms and participate in different activities that we do. And I absolutely am head over heels in love with my team. And so for me to be able to see them face to face, because they're spread out, because most of my, well, really all of my business is online. I have people who have joined from across the country. So, for instance, Ginger is from California. And Lisa, she's not on my team. She's a fellow demonstrator, but she lives in Texas, obviously. And I would have never met her if it weren't for Stampin' Up! And my online activities. And so it was very special for me to be able to go to, just want to make sure that we keep San Antonio. Don't want to cover up San Antonio, where Grandma's from. It just meant a lot to me to be able to see them and spend some really fun time with them. So I think I'm gonna add that to my front page here, because it's a little tight over here, and I don't want to cover up. I could put it there maybe. So either there or there. Maybe I'll save this for another photo. And I think I'll slip that in here. Let's see. See if I can find a spot for it. I think that works pretty well. I'm going to put it there. Okay. And sometimes you just have to make a decision. You just can't waffle all day long, right? So there's my little ticket. Just hold that in place for a second. I also have this cute little heart, so I just want to add that. There we go. All right, now the last thing I'm going to do on camera here today is I have these hole reinforcers. So I've got different colors. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this yet. I don't know if I want to mix them up or I think maybe keep them all the same color on one page. Something like that. All right, I think that's the way we're going to go with those. Alrighty, I'm not going to keep you any longer. This has been a really long video. I think you get the gist. I may add a few other little odds and ends before I'm done. Okay, but that's how it's come along so far. I want to thank you so much for joining with me today. If you have any comments or suggestions, please share with me. I am really new to this. This is my very first scrapbook page. I know it's a slightly different format than what many of you are accustomed to. I'm going to get to the 12 by 12 soon, but I thought to get my feet wet I would start with something a little bit smaller, and I don't know if it's simpler or not, but that's my trip to Texas. Yay! Yeehaw! Okay, folks, thank you so much for popping in on a Sunday. I will be back on Wednesday with Watercolor Wednesday, and the next scrapbooking Saturday will be on the first Saturday of May. I'm only going to come in once a month with my scrapbooking because all sorts of reasons, but mostly because I just have to figure out what I'm doing and I need to plan ahead. I have a lot of photographs to go through. These are from the older photographs from throughout my life, and yeah, etc., etc. So stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and I hope to see you real soon.